This demo shows the easiest way that I know of to move a Lotus Notes database to a SharePoint list. This requires no special tools other than Microsoft Office, and it's really easy and powerful. So what we're looking at right now is a classic Notes database. It's a bunch of documents and views. So here I have bike parts inside of my database. If we go look at the web version of this, here we have products by ID. We're looking at a web view of that data. And if I change the URL from what I have here is www.msdomino.net/products.nsf. So I have the server name, the database name, then the view here is products by ID, and then I say question mark open view. So this gives me a web view of this data. So this is built into Notes and Domino. It's there for free. As long as you're running your HTTP task on your server, this works. Now if I change the open view to read view entries, I get an XML version of that data. So now all that data that was in the view, and you know how to create a view so you can expose whatever data you want, is now available as XML. So I'm going to copy this URL, which is my stream of XML from Domino that gives me what I want. And now I'm going to go to Microsoft Access 2007. So here I have a blank database. There's nothing in it. There's the default table that comes up. But first thing I'm going to do is create a new table. So to do that, I go into external data, and then an XML file. And here, where it asks for the file location, I'm going to put in my URL. So here's my ReadViewEntries. I say OK. So what has happened now is that Access has contacted my Domino server through that URL, and it has found the ReadViewEntries data, but all it found was entry data and number. So the ReadViewEntries format is actually a very poor format to work with. So it does not give me access to the data. It just gives me the column numbers and so on. So I have a little transform here. And by the way, I'll show you that transform in a second. It's just text that are instructions on how to convert that or reformat that data. And when I say OK, notice now that I'm looking at data. It has my product ID, description, location. So I've basically drilled down into the XML and found the data that I want. Once I say that, I can select the structure and data that I want to import into Access. And I can save these steps and I can automate it later, but we're not going to do that. So now I have a new table here called View Entry Table. And here it is. Here's all my Notes Domino data that I exposed, that I surfaced. Yeah, and that view only had 29 documents in it. So I have my data, and what I can do here is I can go into the design of the data, and I can cast these into, this is an integer, this is a text. If I have dates, I can convert things to dates. This is a number, which is formatted as a currency, and so on. So I can do those things within Access. That takes a couple minutes, so we won't do that. But what I can do is I can export this to a SharePoint list. So if I click on Export to SharePoint List, and then here I give it a name. Right now I'm going to put it into my site, and I'm going to call this vid demo. I say OK. So what's happening is Access now is calling the web service APIs. These APIs on my Access database is creating the list. So it says modifying list schema, and now it's uploading the data to the SharePoint list, column properties, and we now have, boom, there's our data inside of SharePoint. Now what we've done is we've forklifted the data out of Notes and Domino and put it into a SharePoint list. On the way, we could have cast the data into integers and numbers and currency and so on, such that the data is cast nicely. And now that it's here, I can add all kinds of calculated columns, and I can do formatting and conditional formatting, and I can link this data to other data inside of SharePoint, and it is just a list. So this is just a list data now, and inside of the SharePoint world, away you go. So people can access this through a browser, and you get a lot of functionality. I get check-in, check-out. I get lifecycle management. I get enterprise search. And these are the kind of things I can do just by spending a few minutes with my Domino database access and using that style sheet. So a quick look at that style sheet is here. So this is the style sheet that I wrote that converts those, and you can find this style sheet on interoptips.com. You can go look in the demos, and you'll find a download in there for that if you want to do it yourself, or you can write your own. So I hope you enjoyed this demo and it's giving you some ideas, and you can find that most of your Notes databases, which are really just containers of data, can very easily be moved over to SharePoint lists, and then from there you can create workflows and forms and kind of go crazy. But this is the part that seems to be difficult, but in reality isn't. So I hope you enjoyed this demo.